Welcome back to Revenge Bloodline. Hi, I'm Jennifer Caldwell, where we celebrate those underdog revenges that prove patience is the ultimate power move. Let me take you back to that night. It was our 10-year high school reunion in a mid-sized town in Indiana, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone else's business, and success is measured by the size of your house or the title on your business card. I was 28 at the time, feeling pretty good about life. I'd been working as a server at a cozy diner downtown, not hang glamorous, but it paid the bills while I pursued my real passion, writing short stories and freelancing articles for local magazines. It wasn't the dream job yet, but it was mine, and I was proud of the small wins, like getting a piece published in the regional paper. The reunion was held at the old gymnasium, decked out with streamers in our school colors, a buffet line of finger foods, and a DJ spinning hits from the 90s. I walked in wearing a simple black dress, nothing flashy, excited to catch up with folks I hadn't seen since graduation. At first, it was fun, hugs, "You haven't changed a bit," comments, stories about kids and weddings. Then came the inevitable circle up where everyone shared what they were doing now. There was Mark, the former class president, now a real estate agent with a flashy watch and stories of million-dollar closings. Lisa, the cheerleader, had become a marketing executive in Chicago, dropping names of big clients. Then it was my turn. I smiled and said, "I'm waitressing at Betty's Diner while I write on the side, got a few stories published lately." That's when it happened. A group of them, let's call them the cool kids from back in the day, including Mark and Lisa, exchanged glances and started chuckling. Mark leaned in with that smug grin. "Waitressing? Come on, Jen. We all thought you'd be the next big author or something. Still slinging hash browns after all these years?" Lisa added, "Yeah, remember how you used to scribble in your notebook during study hall? Guess it's still just a hobby, huh?" The laughter spread like wildfire, a few others joining in nervously. The room felt smaller, hotter. My cheeks burned, but I didn't snap back. I didn't defend myself. I just nodded, forced a laugh, and said, "Yep, keeps me humble." Inside, though, I was seething. Why defend? Words wouldn't change their minds right then. But action? That could. As the night wore on, I mingled elsewhere, chatting with quieter folks who'd had similar paths, teachers, mechanics, small business owners. We shared real stories, not brags. But those mocking laughs echoed in my head all the way home. Driving back to my apartment, windows down with the cool night air rushing in, I replayed it. High school had been tough for me, bookish, not popular, always the one with her nose in a novel. Those cool kids had teased me back then too, but I'd brushed it off. Now, as adults, it stung deeper because it wasn't just about me, it was about dismissing anyone's hard work if it didn't fit their idea of success. Waitressing wasn't easy, long hours on my feet, dealing with cranky customers, all while squeezing in writing time at dawn. But it funded my dreams. Their mockery? It lit a fire. The next morning, nursing a coffee at my kitchen table, I decided, no outburst, no social media rant. Revenge would be in proving them wrong, quietly, methodically. I knew their weak spots from the reunion chatter. Mark was all about image, his real estate firm was growing, but he complained about marketing costs. Lisa bragged about her firm's events but hinted at needing fresh content. And there was Tom, another in their circle, who owned a local coffee shop chain and mentioned struggling with branding. Perfect. My writing wasn't just stories, I'd been freelancing copy for ads, blogs, even a few business profiles. Time to level up. I started small. I signed up for an online course in content marketing, something affordable, but packed with skills on SEO, social media strategies, and persuasive writing. I practiced by revamping my own freelance site, adding a portfolio of my published pieces and some mock campaigns. Then, I reached out to local businesses anonymously at first, offering free samples. One bite, a bakery needed menu descriptions. I nailed it, got paid, and used that to build testimonials. Months passed. I kept waitressing, saving every extra dime. At the diner, I'd eavesdrop on conversations, folks talking real estate, coffee trends, marketing woes. It fueled my ideas. Then came the first strike. Tom's coffee shops. I'd overheard him at the reunion saying he needed a rebrand to compete with chains like Starbucks. I created a pitch, catchy taglines, social media post ideas, even a blog series on Indiana's hidden coffee gems. I sent it via email from my freelance address, no mention of the reunion. Saw your shops around town, I wrote. Thought this might help. He bit. We met at one of his locations. Recognition dawned slowly. Jen? From high school? I smiled. Yep. Small world. He loved the pitch, hired me on the spot for a small contract. First win. As the project unfolded, I poured everything in, researching trends, writing engaging copy that boosted his online presence. His Instagram followers jumped 30% in 2 months. He raved about it to friends, including Mark and Lisa. I made sure of that by asking for referrals. Subtle, right? No gloating from me. Just results. Word spread quietly. Lisa's firm needed content for their newsletter. Again, anonymous pitch at first, then the reveal. Jennifer? The waitress, she said over coffee. I nodded. Writer, actually. She hired me anyway, my samples were too good. Mark was last. His real estate listings read like dry classifieds. I offered vivid descriptions that painted pictures, cozy bungalow with sunset views, instead of 3-bed, 2-bath. He took the bait. By year's end, I'd built a side hustle strong enough to quit waitressing. But the real revenge? It was brewing for the next reunion. Our 15-year was coming up. I'd wait, let success speak. The 15-year reunion was still a few years off, but I wasn't in a rush. Revenge like this isn't about fireworks, it's about steady, undeniable progress that hits them where it hurts, their assumptions. In the meantime, life kept moving. I was still at the diner most evenings, wiping counters, refilling coffee, smiling through the usual, when are you gonna get a real job? Comments from regulars who meant well but didn't quite get it. The difference now? Those comments didn't sting the same way. Every tip I pocketed went straight into my escape fund, a savings account labeled simply "Right full-time." And every quiet shift gave me time to think, plan, observe. Word about my freelance work started spreading locally, slow but sure. Tom's coffee shops were thriving after the rebrand, new signage, punchy Instagram captions I'd written, even a loyalty program email series that got people coming back daily. He started referring me to other small business owners. You gotta talk to Jennifer, he'd say. She's the one who made my places feel like home instead of just another stop. No one connected the dots back to the reunion yet. They just saw a talented writer who happened to be that nice server from Betty's. Lisa was next. Her marketing firm had landed a big local client, a chain of boutique hotels, and they needed fresh blog content to drive bookings. Their usual copywriter had flaked, and Lisa was stressed. She posted in a local business Facebook group, "Need someone who can write engaging travel stories ASAP. Budget is decent." I responded privately with samples tailored to hotels, vivid descriptions of cozy fireplaces, morning light on antique quilts, the smell of fresh scones in the lobby. She replied within an hour, "These are perfect. Let's meet." When I walked into her office downtown, she did a double take. Jen? From the reunion? I smiled calmly. The very same. Ready to talk hotels? She blinked, then laughed, awkward at first, then genuine. Wow. Okay, you're hired. The project went beautifully. I wrote pieces that made readers feel like they were already unpacking their suitcases. The hotel saw a spike in website traffic and direct bookings. Lisa started sending overflow work my way, press releases, social captions, even ghostwriting LinkedIn posts for her executives. Each time she'd say things like, "I had no idea you were this good." I never brought up the reunion laugh. I didn't need to. The work spoke louder than any comeback ever could. Mark was the toughest nut. His real estate agency was polished on the surface, glossy brochures, drone photos of listings, but the descriptions were flat: square footage, number of bedrooms, motivated seller. Buyers skimmed and moved on. I knew from overhearing diner conversations that his closings had slowed. People were choosing flashier agents with better online presence. One day, a mutual acquaintance tipped me off. Mark was looking for a freelance copywriter to overhaul his listings. I submitted a blind proposal through his website, 3 sample property descriptions that turned bland facts into stories. This charming craftsman whispers of lazy summer porches and family dinners yet to be had. He called the next day. These are incredible. Who is this? When we met for coffee, his face went through about 5 emotions in 10 seconds: surprise, recognition, a flicker of embarrassment, then professionalism. Jennifer Caldwell. Small world. I kept it light. It is. So, about those listings. He hired me for a trial batch of 10 properties. I rewrote them all: evocative, emotional, keyword optimized for search. Open houses that used to sit empty suddenly had lines. One house sold in under a week. The buyers said the description made them fall in love before they even walked in. Mark started texting me more listings. "You're a lifesaver," he'd say. Still no apology, no direct mention of the reunion jab. But the dynamic had flipped. Now he was the one chasing deadlines, waiting on my edits. By the time our 15-year reunion rolled around, I'd quit the diner 6 months earlier. My freelance income had surpassed what I'd made in tips and wages combined. I had a proper website, a growing portfolio, even a byline in a national lifestyle magazine. I wasn't rich, but I was doing what I loved full-time: writing stories, helping businesses tell theirs, and finally calling myself a writer without qualifiers. The reunion was at the same gymnasium, same school colors, but the energy felt different. Maybe because we were all older, a little softer around the edges. I walked in wearing a dress I'd actually bought for myself. No more black, blend-in outfits. People greeted me warmly. Then came the update circle again. Mark went first, still real estate, but now mentioning how his online presence had exploded thanks to an amazing copywriter. Lisa talked about her firm's content strategy being elevated by a local talent. Tom bragged about his coffee shop's social media growth. Then it was my turn. I stood up, calm as could be. I'm a full-time freelance writer now. I work with local businesses on branding, blogs, marketing copy. It's going really well. No brag, no details. Just facts. The room nodded politely. Then Mark spoke up, unprompted. "Jen's the one who's been helping me. Her descriptions? Game changer. Sold more houses this year than ever." Lisa chimed in, "She's doing wonders for our hotel client too. Seriously talented." Tom raised his coffee cup, couldn't have grown without her ideas. Silence fell, not awkward, but impressed. The same people who'd laughed at still waitressing were now publicly crediting me. No one mentioned the old mockery. They didn't need to. The contrast did the talking. I just smiled and sat down. Later, during mingling, Mark pulled me aside near the punch bowl. "Hey, about last time. I was a jerk. We all were. Didn't realize how much work you were putting in." I looked him in the eye. "Appreciate that. Water under the bridge." Lisa joined us, sheepish. "Yeah, we owe you an apology." Your silence back then? It stuck with us more than any comeback would have. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The revenge was complete, not in tearing them down, but in lifting myself up so high they had to look up to see me. And the best part? It wasn't just about them. It was about proving to myself that I didn't need their approval. I never had. The night ended with hugs, promises to stay in touch, and me driving home feeling lighter than I had in years. No more diner shifts, no more second-guessing my path. Just forward. The years between the 15-year and 20-year reunions flew by in the best way, busy, fulfilling, without the weight of anyone else's expectations dragging me down. My freelance business had grown legs of its own. What started with local coffee shops and real estate listings turned into steady contracts with regional magazines, a couple of tourism boards, even ghostwriting chapters for a self-published memoir from a retired teacher who'd always wanted to tell her story. I rented a small office above a bookstore downtown, nothing fancy, just a desk by the window, shelves of notebooks, and a kettle for endless tea. Mornings were for writing, afternoons for client calls. Evenings? Mine to read, walk the river trail, or meet friends who never once asked when I was getting a real job. The quiet revenge kept unfolding in small, satisfying ways. Mark's agency became one of the top sellers in the county. His listings now read like mini novels, pulling in out-of-state buyers who emailed saying the descriptions made them pack the car that weekend. He started crediting me in his bio, copy by Jennifer Caldwell, words that sell homes. Lisa's firm won an industry award for their content campaign. The judges specifically praised the vivid, emotional storytelling. She sent me flowers with a card, couldn't have done it without you. Proud to know you. Tom expanded his coffee shops to 3 more locations, the tagline I'd coined, where every cup feels like coming home, was plastered on every cup's sleeve and storefront. Every time I walked past one, I'd smile to myself. No one had to know the backstory. The results did. I never flaunted it. That was the point. The original mockery had been loud, public, mean-spirited. My response was the opposite, silent effort, steady wins, letting success whisper instead of shout. People who knew me from the diner days would stop me on the street now, heard you're a big-time writer. And I'd just laugh and say, still putting words on paper. No ego. No need to prove anything to strangers. But to those who'd laughed, the contrast was impossible to ignore. Then came the 20-year reunion. This one was bigger, held at a nice hotel ballroom instead of the gym, with a sit-down dinner, slideshow of old photos, even a professional photographer. I almost didn't go. Part of me wondered if showing up would reopen old wounds. But another part, the one that had spent years building quietly, wanted to see the full circle close. So I bought a new dress, deep emerald, fitted but comfortable, did my hair, and walked in with zero nerves. The room was full of familiar faces, a little more gray, a little more lived in. Hugs, small talk, the usual, kids. Jobs. Where you living, Loop? When the program started, they did the update segment again, this time with a microphone and a big screen behind the podium. People stood, shared their highlights, promotions, new houses, grandkids. Mark went up first. He looked polished as ever, but softer somehow, maybe fatherhood, maybe time. Still selling real estate, he said, but honestly, the best thing that's happened to my business is partnering with an incredible writer who turned my listings from boring specs into stories people couldn't resist. Jennifer Caldwell, thank you, wherever you are tonight. He scanned the room until he found me, gave a small nod. Applause rippled. I smiled back, no words needed. Lisa followed. Marketing still, but our team's content game is stronger than ever thanks to one person's voice. Jen, you've made us look good for years now. More applause. Tom stood next. Coffee shops are booming, and it started with killer copy from the best writer I know. Jennifer, couldn't have done it without you. By now the room was murmuring, heads turning my way. When it was finally my turn, I walked to the mic, heart steady. Hi everyone. I'm Jennifer. I write for a living now, business copy, articles, stories. It's not always glamorous, but it's mine. And honestly, I'm grateful for every step that got me here, even the ones that didn't look impressive from the outside. I paused, looked at the faces that had laughed years ago. Sometimes people see a job and think they know the whole story. But the real story is what you do with the time you're given. Thanks for being part of mine. I sat down to solid applause, no dramatic mic drop, just quiet truth. After dinner, during the dancing and mingling, the three of them found me at the same time. Mark spoke first, voice low. Jen, we were idiots back then. Laughing at you like that? It was small. I'm sorry. Lisa nodded. We were showing off, trying to feel big. You didn't deserve it. And watching what you've built? It's inspiring. Truly. Tom added, you could have rubbed it in our faces tonight. You didn't. That's class. I looked at them, older, humbler, and felt the last knot in my chest loosen. I didn't need to rub it in, I said simply. You seeing it for yourselves was enough. We hugged, awkward at first, then real. No lingering resentment. Just closure. The rest of the night was easy, dancing to old songs, laughing at yearbook photos, promising to stay in touch for real this time. I left around midnight, driving home under a clear sky, windows down. No anger. No triumph high. Just peace. The revenge hadn't been about making them feel small, it had been about making myself feel whole. And in that, everyone won. A few months later, I got an email from the reunion committee. They wanted me to speak at the 25-year event on unexpected career paths. I said yes. Not to brag. But to remind anyone still serving tables, still writing in notebooks at 3 a.m., still hearing the whispers, that silence can be powerful. That patience can outlast mockery. That the best comebacks don't always need words. The 20-year reunion left a kind of gentle afterglow that lingered longer than I expected. People who'd barely spoken to me in high school started following my freelance page, liking posts about new articles or client wins. A few even reached out privately. Hey Jen, loved what you did for Mark's listings. Any chance you'd look at my small bakery's menu copy? I took most of them on. Not because I needed the work anymore, but because it felt good to help folks who were hustling the same way I once had, quietly, without fanfare. My life settled into a rhythm I actually enjoyed. Mornings started with coffee on my tiny balcony overlooking the river, laptop open, fingers flying. Afternoons were client meetings or deep dive research. Evenings brought walks, books, the occasional dinner with friends who celebrated small victories like landing a byline in a national travel mag. I wasn't famous. I wasn't rich. But I was free from the old doubt that whispered, maybe they were right, every time someone asked what I did for a living. A couple years after that reunion, something unexpected happened. The local Chamber of Commerce announced their annual Entrepreneur of the Year awards. Small business owners, freelancers, anyone who'd made a real impact in the community. Nominations were open to the public. I didn't think much of it until my inbox started filling up. Tom nominated me first. Jennifer Caldwell turned my struggling coffee shops into destinations with her words alone. Then Lisa, her content strategy has elevated our entire firm and inspired our team. Mark chimed in last. She didn't just write listings. She gave my business a voice that sells homes faster than I ever could. She's the real deal. I was stunned. I hadn't asked anyone to nominate me. I hadn't even known the award existed for freelancers. When the shortlist came out, my name was on it, alongside a local mechanic who'd kept half the town running during tough times, a woman who'd started a community garden program, and yes, Mark, Lisa, and Tom's businesses were mentioned in glowing terms because of the work we'd done together. The irony wasn't lost on me. The award ceremony was held at the same hotel ballroom as the reunion, black tie optional, string quartet playing softly. I wore the same emerald dress, figured it had good karma now. When they called my name as the winner in the Creative Professional category, the room stood. Not just polite claps, real, warm applause. The MC read the nomination highlights. Through quiet persistence and undeniable talent, Jennifer transformed ordinary businesses into stories people wanted to be part of. She proves that success isn't measured by titles, but by impact. I walked to the podium, heart pounding just a little. The spotlight felt different this time, not exposing, but illuminating. I kept my speech short. Thank you for this. Honestly, I never expected it. Years ago, I served coffee and wrote in stolen moments. People laughed at that path. I didn't argue. I just kept going. This award isn't really mine, it's proof that the work matters, no matter what it looks like from the outside. To everyone who's ever been underestimated, keep going. Your story's still being written. I held up the little glass trophy, smiled, and sat down to more applause. Afterward, during the mingling and photos, Mark, Lisa, and Tom found me again, this time with their own awards in hand. Mark hugged me first. You deserved every second of that. Lisa wiped her eyes. Watching you up there, it reminded me how wrong we were. I'm so proud to call you a friend now. Tom just grinned. Told you your words were magic. Now the whole town knows. We took a group photo, 4 people who once stood on opposite sides of a laugh, now standing shoulder to shoulder, celebrating the same win. No one mentioned the old reunion jab. It didn't need mentioning. The circle had closed so completely that the past felt like someone else's life. In the years since, things have only gotten better. My work expanded beyond the local scene. A national magazine picked up a personal essay I'd written about the dignity of unglamorous jobs, and it went mildly viral among folks in service industries. I started teaching occasional workshops at the community college, writing your business story, open to anyone with a dream and a laptop. My students range from retirees starting Etsy shops to young baristas saving for college. Every time one of them lands their first paid gig, I feel that same quiet satisfaction I felt watching my old mockers credit me publicly. Mark still sends me listings. Lisa still forwards overflow work. Tom still brews the best dark roast in town and always pours mine for free. We're not best friends, but we're respectful colleagues with a shared history we can finally laugh about. The last time we all met for coffee, at one of Tom's new locations, he raised his mug to the waitress who outwrote us all. We clinked. No sarcasm. Just truth. Looking back, that night at the 10-year reunion, the snickers, the heat in my cheeks, the choice to stay silent, wasn't a defeat. It was the moment I decided my worth wasn't up for debate. I didn't defend myself because I didn't need to. I let time, effort, and results do the talking. And they spoke volumes. The sweetest part? No one ever laughed at my job again. Not because I made them stop, but because they saw what it could become. That's the revenge that lasts, not destruction, but undeniable proof. And that's the end of the story. From public mockery to private victory, from silence to standing ovations. Sometimes the loudest comeback is the one you never have to say out loud. If this tale of quiet revenge and long-game triumph resonated with you, if it reminded you of a time you chose grace over argument and watched it pay off, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and share it with someone who needs to hear that their path is valid, no matter what anyone says. And in the comments below, tell me, where are you watching or listening from today? Thank you for spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next story.